Greetings, greetings, greetings. Hello, Sister Lockers. Welcome to the Tunisia Ali channel, where we talk about beauty tips, hair, and a whole lot of other potpourri. I hope y'all are doing okay today. It's been a minute and I've been missing y'all, but I was all over the southeast coast last week. Let's see, I was in Louisiana, I was in Biloxi, and I was in Panama. And it was wonderful. So I was there for a week, and although I was working, if required, you know, here and there, I was kind of taking some time off to myself. So it was really nice. And I had to tune in with y'all today because I wanted to tell you I'm going in for retightening. And I wanted to just talk about some brief retightening issues that I keep getting from the sisters on the channel, whether it's through the channel or people that I am working with in terms of the Miracle Hair Growth Serum, and we've established a rapport, and periodically folks reach back to ask me particular questions. Now I'm at week 12, which is, you know, I'm probably week 12 in 2 or 3 days. I haven't gone to week 12 in a while. I've normally been at 11 and a half. So I washed my hair last night. I want to talk a little bit about that because I'm going for the retightening. I also colored my hair, which you can see. Now on the video after the retightening, I'm going to talk about the dyeing of my hair. So if you ask me questions about this color, I simply don't know. You'll have to watch for the next video, which I'll make sure gets out in a day or two. But because I waited, and you all also know I always will do the front part of my hair somewhere midway through the cycle. Why? It protects my edges. It helps me to minimize thinning and breaking. And I'm tender-headed around here, and I can't afford to have any hair popping. So I try to maintain that. If I waited for this to 12 weeks, then some of these root beds would be very, very thin. So I do that anyway. But it doesn't mean that when I go in, depending upon when I've done it, that I don't need to get these done. And so as you can see, when you wait a little bit longer than you need to be very careful before you go in for your retightening appointment. It is important that you unmarry any locks that have married or gotten a little bit tangled or anything like that. My particular loctician, Ifraj Sawad in Atlanta, and I'll put her information in the description because she's a wonderful loctician. And if you do happen to look her up, let her know that I sent you from the channel and that I always talk about her on the channel. That way she understands who you are coming in, because she and I have a really good relationship, okay? And I've been with her for over 9 years. Although I do have a backup loctician, she is my primary, and she is the sister who established my locks. Granted, she's only interested in new clients or people who are getting retightenings. She does not want to engage in having to fix locks that are really jacked up. She sees a lot of that in her shop or in her profession, and she prefers not to mix her work with someone else's work. So if you were interested in having them all taken down, or you want to take them down and come to her for a fresh set, then she would be your girl, okay? So as you can see, I have a lot of new growth, right? I have quite a bit, maybe 1.5 inches. All right. Now, also, I will tell you this. Y'all know I just got back on my Miracle Growth Serum about 3 months ago, right? My hair has grown more this time than before. And I was thinking the other night, and I'm like, oh, okay. If you look at my last hair growth video from about 2 months ago, my hair was not quite this long. It's long, but it was not quite this long. It's feeling really good. It's really liking my new hair serum. Take a look. And hair is responding well. It is better for my particular needs than my older serum, and I'm not having some of the issues with the heaviness that I was before. So this is great. So I'm noticing a little bit more. Although I waited an extra 5 or 6 days, some parts, and I put more of the serum up at the front, okay? Because traditionally this has been the area that had the dry scalp. So I put more of the serum up here than I do anywhere else. And you can see there's a lot more hair growth right here, okay? Compared to maybe, let's say, in the back. Yep, it's a little less. I don't know if you can see. I hope you can see. But I wash my own hair. Efraj has never washed my hair. I prefer to wash my own hair when I go in for any number of reasons, but that's just the way it's worked out. So that means because she likes to work on clean hair and I want clean locks to be relocked, and I don't want a whole lot of debris and stuff in my locks, I like to make sure that I provide an easy landscape for her to do my hair. And it makes my life easier, because if my hair is all tangled up, and that's what's going to happen when your loctician washes it, what's going to happen is they're just going to simply pull the hair apart, right? And it may not necessarily be as gentle as what you can do. Not to mention, if you are tender-headed, that extra pulling on your locks is going to feel some kind of way. So what you want to do is take some time before going in to really make sure that you have separated anything that may have combined or married. It's not good enough to just do this when you've been out of there for a while. Doing just this is not going to do it. You really need to go through the hair. And if you are really trying to go the extra mile, you want to take a little bit of the Miracle Grow spray, which has a great detangling capacities, and you want to rub that in to help loosen the hair as well. Had my hair not been dyed, I would have done that already. But with my hair being colored and it's a rinse, it will cause some of it to start to bleed. I just did it last night, so I really don't want to do that with this light pink shirt on. But it is important to make sure that you go through and you do this, okay? Okay, I've got 2 readings coming up. Okay, before my retie. So, as far as retightening, some of the major concerns that some of you have with your retightening that I get on the channel have to do with how often you should be getting a retightening, okay? That's one of the more common questions that I am always faced with. And I like to say, you probably and likely know best based on how your hair is doing. But if you're not sure, a general guideline I would say would be maybe 7 to 9 weeks, 8 to 10 weeks, depending upon how your hair grows and what happens when you get your retightenings and where you are in the journey. That is critical, because in my first 3-4 retightenings, the first time I tried to go to 10 weeks, I had a problem. Now I can go to 12 weeks without a problem. But the first time I tried to go to 10 weeks, because I was really new in my journey, and my hair hadn't been trained how to grow into the lock yet, what happened was I ended up having a knot right here, right, not quite at the root bed, but right here in front of the lock. I got a mass of hair. And so when she retightened it, all she could do was retighten over that mass. And so that little lump was there. And I didn't like that. Although it smoothed out eventually, it let me know I needed to continue with the 8 to 9 week schedule and not wait longer than that. But the other thing that all of us have to consider really is this whole business about indulging the locticians that want you to come in every 6 weeks. I don't know where that comes from. And I would argue, and I don't really care where it comes from, because I would argue this is a style you're going to have for life, right? Imagine getting cornrows for 30 years or for 10 years or for 7 years straight. And each time you went in, y'all know how we have this business about doing these cornrows too tight or it's pulling your hair. Imagine what's going to happen. You've seen a lot of the women from the African continent or the Caribbean who do braids, and their own hair is very thin, if not bare around the edges. You have to see each time you do something with your hair as you're putting some sort of stress or trauma on the hair. It doesn't matter if you're styling, if you're coloring, if you're curling it, if you're doing cornrows, if you're adding extensions, or you're doing these. What my position is that continued trauma over time is not going to show itself right away. Depending upon your genetics, it may never show itself. My mother still has a head of hair that's as thick as rug. All right. When my sister's health deteriorated dramatically before she passed away, her hair was still as healthy and thick as anything. All right. My hair was never as thick as either of their hair. Okay. I had much more thin spaces in here. when I get my hair first done, you see, you know, sometimes you really see the plucked chicken over there. But what I'm trying to say to you, or what I am saying to you, that I want you to be mindful of, is your hair has some sort of trauma. The same way you pull it back like this every day, or you wear a headband or a hat and it rubs up against here and it starts pulling out the hairs. The same way you put it in a ponytail every day, and then eventually you get short hairs back here. So that continued and that consistent and rhythmic retightening schedule that you have, at some point, depending upon your loctician, the care and concern she gives your hair, is going to have some type of impact. And I've seen a lot of people have locks, and once they get to a certain space, the locks start thinning. I don't expect to deal with that. I hope I don't have to deal with that, which is why I use the oil blend, and I make sure I'm massaging this area as well. And I make sure I do some of my retightenings, and I make sure my hair is untangled. That way, when I go in, there's no reason for anybody to pull. There's no hair that's going to get connected with something else, and I can just hear very gently the tool going through. I don't feel any hair popping. I don't hear any hair popping. And that's what I'm going to suggest to you. If you have a loctician and they're telling you that you need to be coming in there every 6 to 6 weeks or so, you need to figure out a plan, because every 6 weeks or so is not sustainable. Financially, it may not be sustainable, but in terms of the health, the overall health of your hair, it's not sustainable. And people today are concerned with breakdown maintenance. They're concerned with immediate gratification. They're not concerned with long-term health, long-term growth, and putting in the necessary time, effort, and maintenance, and observation and monitoring to grow your hair. That's your job. That's something that is your responsibility. You can't just turn that over to someone else. And so you have to evaluate the kind of loctician that you have. You may have one who's like, okay, girl, that's fine. 6 to 8 weeks, 8 weeks. We'll try it and we'll see how it works. Go with that person. If you have someone that's like, you got to come in every 6 weeks, because if you don't, your root bed is going to do this and your locks are going to do that and all this other stuff, and you believe that because that's your experience, then go on in. If you know that you have to have it every 6 weeks and your hair is thick and all this other stuff, and that's what you believe, go ahead in. But if you get an inkling that, you know what, I don't think I need to be going in that often, my hair is, fundamentally pretty healthy, and I believe I can last an extra week, try to put the time, add the extra time to the timeline, because it's your hair and it's the health of your root bed and everything else. And the last thing you want to be concerned with is having a head full of beautiful locks and then having thinning in the top of your head, Lord forbid, or some other area where your hair is just, you see this? I got a lot of hair, baby hair that comes up. I almost want to take one or two of these out and separate it, because it gets thicker and thicker and thicker around here. And then it creates a bit of a problem when it's time for me to go in the next time and unmarry. But as you know, that wavy hair is the stronger hair. The kinkier hair is a lot less strong. So I don't mind pulling on that. But yeah, consider that, ladies. That's going to be my primary advice to you. As I go in for this retie today with Efraj, I'm making sure that none of my locks are married. I'm making sure that the parts are easily accessible from all sides. And it's something that takes a little bit of time, because once you wash your hair and you've gone a little bit longer without a retightening, your hair is going to be a little bit tangled. So this is something you want to be mindful of. Now, let's say your loctician consultant actually does wash your hair, but you go in, you spend quite a bit of time going in before retightenings. You might still want to wash and detangle, or you may still want to detangle before you go in, even knowing that she is going to wash, because it's still less tangling around the time that she washes and does whatever she has to do. Your hair is still going to be less tangled. If it's got the tangles before and she washes it, it's really going to mat up. It's going to be worse for you. The other option that you have, ladies, if you're going in too often for retightenings and you don't feel like you have any options, is to start learning how to do your own retightenings. It may sound like an arduous task. Many of you are having to do it now because of what's going on with Corona. But if that's going to salvage your locks, then that's what you need to consider doing. Ultimately, massaging your scalp on a regular basis adding essential oils and things that are organic and healthy for your hair is what is going to sustain you in the long run, along with drinking plenty of water, along with taking supplements like MSM flakes, things like biotin, vitamin E, B12, and folic acid are some of the things that you can actually do. So I hope this video helped you. If you are interested in the Miracle Growth Serum, find me. Go to my website, HeDietReiki.com, get my contact information, or send me an email, and I will send out the order form. If you are interested in the anti-aging blend, which I have since added 2 additional ingredients in it to tweak it, which look as though they are working a little bit more to help with wrinkles and moisture retention, order that. If you're interested in the acne serum, shout out to Miss Ollie, who's on her, I believe, her 3rd order perhaps, 2nd or 3rd order. Her daughter has done really well with the acne serum. These serums are always under construction. I may offer a separate one or a different type to work on some acne that is extremely resistant, that has improved but may still be resistant. I will keep you all posted on the channel. I hope that you have a peaceful and productive day. I'm sending you lots of light and love, and go get those reties.